All right, today I'm going to give everyone watching an example of the I am in action. And as I talk about it, I'm going to give you an example of what I would have done if I was still the old person, and what I actually did as the new person to create this incredible sequence of events that just magically took care of something that was on my list, and not only took care of it, but it all worked out perfectly. And so let's begin. I want to give you the background story first, because it'll make more sense if I do it that way. And so recently I've been talking about how one of the things that has changed since I am this new person is my relationship with my wife. It's literally like we just met again. That's how hot and heavy shit has gotten. And so last week, the remote to the Fire Stick that we have in the bedroom got wrapped up in the sheets. And I washed the remote. I put it in the washer and didn't realize it until after I had washed it and dried it. And so the remote didn't work anymore, so we had to get a new Fire Stick. And so I put it on my list, and for whatever reason, I didn't really follow through on it. Now I want to go back just for a second. Now the old me, okay, who was following the law of attraction and that kind of stuff, I'd be thinking to myself, why did this happen? I've been feeling good. Why did this happen? Why did this? All right. So that's the first. But the new me, everything that happens is just, if I don't like it, it's old awareness, right? Or it's just something that works out perfectly because, as I said a couple videos back, I'm an extension of God, and so are you. And God is perfect. So if God is perfect and we're extensions of God, then that must mean that we're perfect. And so if we're perfect, every move that I make is perfect. And if every move that I make is perfect, anything that results from that move must also be perfect. So every moment in my life is perfect. Whether it looks fucking perfect or not, it's perfect. And so that remote, you're going to see how this plays out, but I looked at it as, okay, this is perfect. I don't understand, why this happened in this moment, and I don't need to fucking understand it because it's perfect. And so, again, I put it on my list. Never got done. And so the weekend came, and my wife and I were out. We dropped our daughter off at voice lessons. And she's there from 1 to 3. And so, also on my list has been T-Mobile. Okay, that's our phone service. And I also have an internet connection that I've been wanting to get rid of because I don't use it anymore. But my wife, she's the main account holder. And so I tried several times to just do it online, and you can't. And so you had to call. And so I went into a chat, and I was trying to, and I made it to a certain point, and they're like, okay, we're just going to have to talk to the account holder to approve this. And so I couldn't do it. And so I had to wait for my wife to come home, and then it just, she would come home late, we'd have dinner, and it just never materialized. So that was on my list. And also, one other thing was Xfinity. Xfinity is our Wi-Fi provider. And my Xfinity bill, I'm paying over $100 a month for Wi-Fi. And so I was talking to T-Mobile about Wi-Fi, home Wi-Fi. And I was going back and forth with T-Mobile, and they, for some reason, they couldn't fucking understand what I was trying to tell them in this chat. And so that was there. So I was trying to do some things with T-Mobile, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't get it done. And I was like, all right, just let it go. And so that was over the course of 2 weeks. And so on Saturday, we're out. And now, mind you, the old person, my daughter is at voice, as I said, from 1 to 3. And then after that, my dad lives about 45 minutes away. We were dropping her off to spend the night at my dad's house after we picked her up from voice. Now, before this, a day or two before this, there was some conversation on how we wanted to handle it. Do we want to, divide and conquer? And I'll go do some other errands that needed to be done. And normally my wife would drive up and drop her off and then come back. Or do we just want to go together? And since, again, my wife and I's relationship has changed, she's like, I just want to spend time with you. And so the old me, this wouldn't have happened this way. This is number one, okay? I would have, figured out an excuse to just have her go and take care of it and drop Peyton off at my dad's house, and I would have tried to do as little as possible. Goal. But the new me is like, yeah, okay, let's spend some time together. I wouldn't have wanted to have anything to do with my dad going up there. As I told you you know, my relationship from before. But I'm like, all right, let's make a day out of it. So we'll drop her off at Voice, and then we'll go and we'll get something to eat. And we'll just have like a little date before our date night. And so we're on our way to drop my daughter off at Voice. And my wife goes, oh shit, I forgot that I have a Zoom call for her work at 1 o'clock. And so I'm like, all right, no big deal. We'll just sit in the parking lot and you can do what you got to do. And then I'll just chill and I'll just do what I got to do. Again, just going with the flow. The old me would have been like, what the fuck? I thought we were supposed to have a date. Like, would have brought some kind of negative energy into that situation. Can you relate to that? I'm sure if you're married, you can. But everything's happening perfectly. So I treat everything the same way. Anything that happens. Anything. I don't care if it doesn't matter what it is. Everything is happening perfectly for me. And I am that. And so that's the way everything works out. And so I say to her, I'm like, you know what? I've been wanting to get a car wash on my list. We'll just go and get a car wash. I'll get my car washed while you're on the Zoom call. And so we go and we drive, kind of like I just put the closest car wash in, and it took us, you know, back towards a direction, an area where we wouldn't have been in. Okay, normally we would go in the other direction, but I wasn't even looking. I was just looking closest car wash, and I'm like, oh, it's taking us all the way back to where we used to live. I know what car wash this is. And so got the car wash, and then she's still on her Zoom call. And I'm like, all right, do you want to just go to Target? Because we're not going to be able to go out to eat when she's on her Zoom call. I'm like, I want to get a fire. I didn't even ask her. I was, and this is the other thing, okay? Sometimes I'm like thinking of the old self, but the old self would have been like, hey, what do you want to do? And this and that and the other thing. I'm going to get a car wash. Next thing I'm going to do, you're still on the Zoom call. I'm going to go get a Fire Stick. Let's go to Target. I'm going to get a Fire Stick. And so we go to Target. She's still on the Zoom. All right. And we're about to walk in together. She's like, I'm just going to stay in the car. And you go in, get the Fire Stick, and then come out. And I'm like, all right, no problem. Old me would have sat there and said, you know, I just want to wait. I'll wait till you're done so we can go in together, like kind of shit. But new me, okay, cool. So I go in the Target. Walking around looking for the Fire Stick. Target's kind of a big place. I don't go in the Target much. So I got to ask somebody. I'm like, you know, do you know where the Fire Sticks are? He's like, yeah, right around this corner, right around the TVs. And it was like, you know, it wasn't far. It was like 2 aisles over from where he was standing. And so I go over, I'm looking. They don't have the Fire Stick, the Amazon Fire Stick that I wanted. And so I'm walking back around. I'm like, I'm about to leave. And the guy from behind me asked me, he's like, did you find it? And I was like, nah, they didn't have the Amazon Fire Stick. They had, Roku and some other things. And he's like, I wonder, maybe they'll have something in the back. And he's like, you know what? They probably would have had it out. And he's like, while I have you, what phone carrier do you have for your cell phone? Now, if my wife was there, I don't stop and talk to this guy. Okay? So let's just start right there. But and normally I wouldn't talk to this guy. I'd be like, no, I'm not interested. But since everything is happening perfectly for me, and everything always works out perfectly, this has to be perfect. And so we start talking. I tell him who I had, T-Mobile. I tell him what I'm paying. He says, okay, here's what I can do. So right off the bat, he gives me the same exact plan that I have. And it's going to save me $150 a month. On top of that, everyone gets new phones. And so I'm like, this is perfect. And I said, oh, by the way, do you have home internet service? Because now I'm like, let's just get everything together. Because I have Xfinity, T-Mobile. It's kind of, I just wanted to have everything in one bill. And he says, yeah. So he's like, adds that in. It's like half the price of what I'm paying for Xfinity. My wife comes in. I'm like, here's what's happening. Little resistance initially. I'm like, man, this is the new me. Everything happens perfectly. Okay? And she's like, all right. She's like, I'm hungry. I'm going to go grab a piece of pizza. You want a piece of pizza? Yeah, she goes. And here's something else just to add to it, to add to this perfectness that just magically happened. Okay, now remember all of the things that happened to put me in this target at this time by myself. The Fire Stick, my wife having a pop-up Zoom call, me just putting in a car wash place that takes me down here to this target where I would have been at a different target. And then my wife still being on the Zoom call and me walking in by myself. All of that happening to put me in this perfect place at this perfect moment so I could get the perfect deal for something that had been on my list. And so, if that's not enough, as I'm talking to the guy, he tells me he used to be a dog trainer. And I've talked about before, my dog barks like a psycho when somebody comes to the door. Dog never barks, only when someone comes to the door. So I'm like, oh, I told him that. I was like, what do I do? Here's what you do. Another thing on my list, checked off. All of it taking place because of who I am now. It's not waiting to become it or waiting to be it or a journey. I'll be this when I get this. It's being it now, and then it all comes to you because of who you are. It starts with the state. Then the thoughts start flowing to you. And then as long as you're denying the bullshit, the old self who's trying to tell you, what the fuck? Why would you wash the goddamn remote control? How did you not see that? Chatter in my ear. Nope. Everything happens perfectly for me. Wife on a Zoom call. We're supposed to have lunch. What the fuck? Old person. What the fuck? She's on spring break. Why does she have to take a Zoom call right now? You're supposed to have lunch. What the fuck? That's the old person. It's still there in my ear, but I don't listen to that shit. Because I know who I am. I tell myself 2,000 times a day. Nope, this is who I am. Nope, this is who I am. 100 times an hour, at least. But when you do it, these are the things that start happening. Because I'm a new fucking person now. And so reality has to match me. It has to match the new me. And it can try all at once to keep me there as the old person. But I know too much now. I know too much. And it's that simple. It's as simple as the 3 steps. As I keep talking about. The 3 steps I keep talking about. Know it. Receive. And then it was detach, but now it's deny. But once you get past deny, then you just become fucking best friends with it. Like I am. The old person loves me so much. He keeps fucking trying to hang out with me. He keeps calling me. He just loves me. You know, he's adorable. Why would you not love me? I'm fucking awesome. Simple. But you are going to have to you're going to have to be an assassin. You just have to be so fucking strong. Because the old self is relentless. And the hardest part, the biggest challenge that I had to face thus far is reminding myself that I am not the emotions. I am not my feelings. I am separate. And so if you can remember that, you're way ahead of it. I know this helped a lot of people. There's going to be plenty more like this to come. Because greatness and perfection is who I am. And so greatness and perfection is what I get. You can get it too. Just start being it. I love you all. Here's a goal every time I check off. I'll see you in the next one.